Welcome to the Sam the Answer Man podcast. For 30 years, Sam Ventola has been an attorney, hearing officer, professor, and mediator. Now he's here to answer your legal questions. Sam the Answer Man, law made simple. Here's your hosts, Sam and Gina Ventola.
Hi everybody, I'm Gina.
And I'm Sam.
And welcome to the Sam the Answer Man podcast, the podcast where we try to answer your questions to Sam the Answer Man, because he knows everything. So with that being said, can we talk about car accidents a little bit?
Okay.
So let's say I get hit. What do I do?
So some of it depends on how serious you're hit. You do not want to create a situation where, you're claiming an injury in every accident. Some accidents are fender benders. But if there was a serious impact, you may find, even if you don't realize it immediately after the accident. I've had many, many clients who said, immediately after the accident, I felt fine, but then I realized I had problems maybe a few hours later, maybe the next day. And so if it was a serious impact that you may have been injured, you want to treat it as if you may have to file a claim based on this. And there are a number of things that you should do. So immediately, people have the tendency when they are in an accident or a situation where they might have been hurt to pop up and say, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, okay? Well, you may not know if you're fine. And for you to pop up and say, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, if the accident scene is going to come back at you. Somebody's going to say, oh, they said they were fine, they must be faking at this point. So again, if it was a serious impact, at least be more guarded in your language. I think I'm okay, I'm not sure, something like that. You will be asked a question if the police come, whether you want to take an ambulance to the hospital. And again, I would not spend money on an ambulance ride unless you really do feel at that time that there could be something wrong. But again, even if you don't go in an ambulance to the emergency room, you may have issues later on. So consider carefully that question about whether you want to go in an ambulance to the emergency room. If you have any feeling at all that you may have been hurt, I recommend that you do that. Because again, if you don't do that, that comes back at you and they say, it didn't even go in the ambulance. They were offered an ambulance ride, they were offered an emergency room, they didn't do that. So those are a couple of things to think about initially. Secondly, it's a good idea to get photographs of what happened. Try to get photographs of your car, the other car, a photograph of the position of the cars on the street, to try to come up with the best evidence. Next, don't make statements, that may come back at you. It's okay if you don't want to make an argument about who was at fault, but don't say, oh, don't worry about it, you were fine or whatever. Again, our tendency may be to do that, but you may be hurting yourself very severely if you fail to, if you say something like that, because it's going to be repeated back at you. So the police may be called. Generally, if there is no injury, or if and there's not severe property damage, sometimes the police will say, well, we're not going to call, just take the cars off, particularly if there's a weather event. So you may not have the police unless you say you're injured, in which case they will send the police and an ambulance. But if the police do come, which in most cases they do, they do an accident report, try to make sure you get a copy of the accident report so that you have that from the get-go. And you know you have access to it, because it does happen sometimes that even though they're supposed to file those, they get lost. And you want to make sure that that you've gotten the names and phone numbers of anyone who might have witnessed the accident. Sometimes they don't end up in the accident report, and so you have to do that yourself. So those are some of the things that you should have in mind when you're in an accident, in case you end up having to make a claim based on that accident.
So this claim that you talk about based on the accident, what are the things as you as an attorney look for to evaluate the claim?
So obviously, most people who are in traffic accidents are not positioned to pay a lawyer an hourly rate to bring a claim based on a car accident. So they are looking to have an attorney represent them on what we call contingent basis. And in order for me as an attorney to be able to take a case like that, I have to be able to evaluate it and be honest with you about the chances you have. And one good thing about contingent fee cases is that, you know, if an attorney is not willing to do a case on a contingent fee, it probably means they don't believe in it. And so therefore you should think twice about whether to even bring that claim. If the attorney's trying to charge you hourly for an accident case, they maybe just trying to take your money. So in one sense, the contingent fee agreement puts the attorney and the client together with a community of interest. But there's a limit to that. And this sort of harkens back to all of the advertisements you see on TV for attorneys who say, come and, you know, I'm going to resolve your accident cases. Typically, those firms rely on a business model where they are bringing in as many claims as possible and settling them very quickly. And so that is where the interest of the attorney starts to depart from the interest of the client, in the sense that the attorney has an interest in bringing in numerous claims and settling them very, very quickly with very little time expended at a very low amount. And the attorney can actually make a lot of money doing it that way, and that's how you pay for a bunch of advertisements and stuff. You would rather have an attorney who's going to take each case and try to maximize the value of each case. And so, you know, because the longer you have the claim, the insurance companies will not pay for a claim that hasn't been filed as much as they will pay for a claim that has been filed. Insurance company will generally not pay early in the case as much as they will later in the case. I've done many of these cases, and I see it time and time again. They are hoping to latch on to the interest of that attorney to settle it. They know the attorney has an interest in settling, and so they're going to try to get the attorney to tell the client, "I'll settle this case, settle it well." It's very, very important that you find an attorney who will hold on to that case and will continue to prosecute as long as necessary to get a fair settlement. And you got to be very, very careful, because there are a lot of attorneys out there, and not just the ones who advertise, who will just try to get rid of the case by settling it rather than having to work it.
So you just mentioned the ones who advertise on TV, and you see the settlements where they say, you know, so-and-so got me $1 million from my car accident. As much as that does not sound reasonable, what is the consideration for a reasonable settlement in a car accident?
So settlements, one of the big factors that go into how much an insurance company will be going to pay for a settlement is medical bills. And sometimes it's just sort of formulaic, where insurance companies will say, okay, the medical bills are this much, I'll pay that much plus 50%, something like that. Sometimes they start off not even being willing to pay the medical bills, but the medical bills are very important to going into a case. Another issue is property damage. Now, property damage is very often settled separately. They will pay for your car, or maybe your insurance company will pay for the car, and you will not have a claim for property damage, but sometimes you do, especially if they deny liability. And so property damage definitely goes into the amount of the claim, because it can be a significant number if it's a valuable car. And obviously a big issue for us in determining whether to take a case is who is at fault. And under Colorado law, whether a traffic citation has been issued or who it was issued is not admissible in evidence. And so technically, if the police officer, for example, said, you know, I can't tell who's at fault here, both of them said they had the green light, so therefore I'm not going to write a ticket, that makes the case more difficult to settle. Insurance companies, some of them will tell you, it's not really true, but some of them will tell you that if it's an issue of disputed liability, they won't settle it. The reality is they will settle later, particularly if you have better evidence. But whether whether or not somebody was cited is still relevant, just in terms of who might end up being at fault and and whether the insurance company is willing to settle the case. Another issue is lost wages. If you never lost any work because of the accident, that probably shows that there wasn't a large amount of pain and suffering, and it definitely shows that you don't have numbers for lost wages. But if you do have lost wages, those can pile up pretty quick, and it's an element of the claim that we can bring. And so having lost wages is helpful for it being a case that we could bring as a personal injury case.
Anything else you'd like to add?
No, I mean, again, as you select your, attorney, the temptation may be to go to these firms that are on TV, but I think that you'd probably be better off going with somebody who's going to value your case. In other words, they're not out there advertising on TV and getting 1 million people in, because they're going to look at that as factory work. You will want an attorney who your case is important to, so that your interests are more closely aligned with that attorney, and will probably be willing to work the case more than somebody who brings in thousands of cases a year.
Well, there you have it. Thank you, Sam. That was pretty helpful. So if you have any questions regarding car accidents and what to do, give us a call. If you go to Facebook, on our Facebook page, Ventola Law, and you click on the button call, it calls our office. Isn't that cool? I love technology. You can also find us on Twitter and Instagram and LinkedIn. If you want to talk to Sam directly, you can message him on LinkedIn, or just send him an email at sam@samventola.com. And Sam has written a terrific article on this. He kind of focused on contingent fee agreements on this, right?
That issue of whether, what can cause an attorney and client to have different interests when there's a contingent fee agreement.
So definitely check that out. I'll put the link to that in the description on the YouTube video. And just let us know how we can best help you. But you help us by liking and subscribing our podcast. So if you can do that, that'll be great. Have a great day.
Thank you.
If you would like to discuss your legal issue with Sam, please contact Ventola Law at 303-864-9797, or check out our website at www.ventolalaw.com. Ventola Law, mediation and legal representation at an expert level.